The Dice Odyssey. Hey there folks, welcome to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today we're trying to figure out which one amongst us is brave enough or even dumb enough to actually go into a dungeon full of nasty monsters that are trying to destroy us, and welcome to the dungeon. This game has a bit of a push your luck element to it. We're all trying to figure out how many pieces of equipment we're willing to actually be okay with going into the dungeon and how big that dungeon deck gets. To understand what I'm talking about, let's get it over the table. I'll show you how it plays, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay. So to play the game, you're going to pick one of 4 different heroes. Right now I've got the warrior laid out, but for example you could pick the rogue, which is the Lord of the Rings knockoff, the mage, which I call, Purple Gandalf, and the beefcake barbarian. Beefcake is my own word for him. And they all come with their own 6 different levels or 6 different pieces of equipment that they take with them into the dungeon. So how you're going to basically start is every player is going to be given a player sheet. Now, it starts out on the white side. There's a red side showing that you have been wounded, but I do like the fact that it lists all the characters on the sheet, and it also shows you how many of each type are in there and what weapon defeats them and how much damage they do, specifically with the numbers. Okay, so that's one thing. What you're trying to get are these scrolls. They're basically victory points. You're trying to get at least 2 to win the game. Okay, now the way it's going to work is you're going to get a deck of cards. Okay, it's going to be all shuffled up, and it's going to have all the different kinds of monsters and things like that. I've only got part of the deck right now just to show you, and I'm giving you a general rules overview. It's not going to give you every little bitty tiny rule in the game, so understand that ahead of time. But the way this works is it doesn't matter if there's 2 to 4 players. Everybody's going to have a turn. It's going to go clockwise, and basically people are going to be given an opportunity to take a card or pass. If they take a card, then they're going to look at it and go, okay, I'm going to put that into the dungeon deck. Now, they're not letting anybody else know what they have, so let's say they decide they want to put that into the dungeon. Now, the dungeon is what whoever ultimately is going to stay in the game last is going to have to go through. So basically, however many players, whoever's in the game, they've all passed except one person. That one person's going to go into the dungeon once this dungeon deck is completed. So what they're doing is, let's say it's another player and they go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to remove this from the game, and also I'm going to take the torch, because if you take one out of the game, basically out of the dungeon deck, you have to take a piece of equipment with it, and that's laid to the side. It's no longer available. So, for example, okay, like this one, this person says, yeah, I'm going to also take this. I'm removing that from the deck, and then so on and so forth. This person puts it into the dungeon. This person goes, oh yeah, that'll go into the dungeon. And this person says, yeah, we'll go ahead and put that into the dungeon. And then let's continue on. Everybody's basically passed, and one player is going, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go, because they're the only one left, so they have to go. Now let's take a look. Again, not everybody knows exactly what's been put into the deck, but we got a pretty good amount of equipment. Let's see how it works out. So the first thing is a huge dragon that would deal 9 damage to the hit points here, because your warrior's got 3 hit points plus plate armor, which is 8 basically combined, and then another one, which is the shield. So they've got 11 hit points. And now you also have a dragon spear here, and look, that actually defeats the dragon. If you look, see the symbol on the tile there? Matches the symbol there of what defeats this dragon. That dragon is taken out of the game. You're still alive, right? And let's take another look. Okay, so this one, we don't have the Holy Grail or the torch, so we've taken 2 hit points so far. We remember that. Let's see what we got next. Oh, again, no torch. We've taken 3 hit points. So in essence, now we've basically taken out this plate armor, so we can just remove that and push it to the side. I mean, you can keep it in there if you want, but I mean, it's easier to remember. And then also we just taken 5 more hit points. So because I don't have the battle hammer, the barbarian has that. So anyway, we are down to 1 hit point left. We have survived the dungeon, we've gained a victory point, okay? And that's basically how the game plays. We keep on going round after round after round until either all other players are defeated or the first player to gain 2 of these wins. Welcome to the Dungeon is actually a blast to play. It's an absolute blast, and it's a brief blast, right? I say this a lot in some reviews about games like this, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. That's one thing I do like about it. Now, I'm not against longer games. I do tend to like long games, especially if they're more involved and like epic quest style games. I like, Star Wars Imperial Assault. I mean, I like Blood Rage. Granted, it's not terribly long, just depends on, who you're playing with. This type of game is what I would consider a filler, right? If you want a good, fun filler where it actually can cause some laughs. A lot of people don't think that, but I do. I mean, I laugh at people because I'm sitting there going, ha ha ha, you're going to get destroyed going into that dungeon. I know that sounded like a fake laugh, but anyway. So yeah, what do I like about it? I can start with artwork. Absolutely love the artwork on these cards, or these tiles and cards as well. For example, like with the Conan knockoff, the Barbarian. He is what you call the beefcake of a man, right? This dude's ready to go in there and just slaughter everything that moves. And I love the things that are included with him, like the Warhammer and so on and so forth. I absolutely love it. I think we, as a consensus of people I've played with, a lot of people absolutely love the Rogue. If you like Lord of the Rings, you're probably going to like the Rogue. I mean, for goodness sake, this person comes with an invisibility cloak. It comes with a Vorpal dagger, which looks very eerily like Sting, right, from Lord of the Rings, and Frodo's sword. It also comes with the Ring of Power. Come on now, guys. You're not even trying. Now, you're knocking that off. It's awesome. Awesome. People like me are going to love this. And so, yeah, you do feel like you're having a lot of fun going in as one of these people. The other thing, the components. I mean, the component quality. Artwork's great. It draws me into the game. The monsters are awesome, but the component quality is really good too. Very thick tiles. Absolutely love that in a game like this because I don't know, it gives it a more of a weighty feel, It makes you feel like you bought something or received something that was worth some really good value. Again, always enjoy thick, decent components like that. The cards are also very nice. Again, not a whole lot to the game, but what they put in there was fantastic. Another thing that I do like the mechanics. I like the fact that you as a group are trying to stack the dungeon deck, right? You're trying to stack it full of monsters, and in some cases you're trying to hopefully go in there yourself into the dungeon because you want to get those the 2 victory points. Basically, I'm forgetting the name right now, but you're trying to get those 2 victory points, right? Those 2 scrolls, and you're hoping that the rest of the group isn't stacking the deck too much against you, right? Because you also want to try to keep as much of these pieces of equipment around because you want to try to defeat it. Another thing, let's say you maybe have 1 win. I mean, I had this happen the other night. You already had one victory point. You're trying to get that second one, and you're trying to force everybody else at the table to go through the dungeon, and hopefully you'll be able to complete it a little bit easier, maybe with one other player, right? Because you have a little bit more control over what goes in the deck versus 4 people together working on the deck. And so you're sitting there and going, I'm gonna stack the deck to try to destroy these people, but not so much that I have a little bit of control about what might go in. Granted, you really don't. It's like a semblance of control. You don't really have that much control. You're just hoping. Again, you're kind of pressing your luck, and you're hoping that everybody else will pass if there's not too much in terms of monsters going into that dungeon deck and not too many pieces of equipment taken out. And boy, when you see that happen, it's like, it's a done deal. There's a strong chance I'm going to win, so I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to pass, right? But then again, there's that strong tension between the players. I mean, you're really sitting there playing mind games with them. Like, I was sitting there goading people in. It was a game I lost, speaking of which, but I was goading some friends of mine into it last week. I'm like, oh yeah, you can stay in a little bit longer. Come on, man. Because I want them to die. I want them to go in there and die. I want them to be taken out of the game, which could lead to a problem you might have with the game. Here's the caveat, though. The game is so short, it probably doesn't matter. Player elimination. Once you've taken 2 hits, you're gone, right? But the game, I mean, with maybe 2 players plays 10 minutes, maybe 15 at most, Really? I mean, it's not a very long game. With 4 players, I mean, we typically were playing between 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes, and again, if you're experienced enough, typically you're not running into a lot of like analysis paralysis about your moves, like, I better wait, or I better go. Some people seem to do that. So yeah, it's a fun game. Awesome game. And I can't recommend it enough. Welcome to the dungeon. This gets my highest seal of approval in terms of quick, fast, fun. If you like Love Letter, I don't know, you might even tend to like this more. It just depends on who you are. I tend to like it a little more because of the theme. I mean, granted, you can get about 50 million themes in Love Letter, and that's a game I like okay, but this one tends to just blow it out of the water for me. So anyway, love it. You should get it. I believe that. So thanks so much again, guys, for watching the Dice Odyssey videos. I'm Kaz. I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, and hey, leave a comment down below. Have you played Welcome to the Dungeon? Are you a big fan of mini games, or you know, like the miniature style games? Or are you somebody who's more like the epic style games like Blood Rage and things like that? Let me know what you think, and I appreciate you. You have a blessed day, and game away.